everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I'm currently on a debt-free journey to repay $132,000 worth of student loan debt. Every single month I share our real number budget as well as a budget reconciliation or closeout at the end of the month. And that is just to close out the month, make sure that we were on our budget, make any adjustments that are needed, as well as share any additional income sources that we had for the month and how we allocated that money. So this is for March 2021. I will link my March budget above if you have not watched that video yet. That will be helpful, as that is what this was based on, although we did have some additional income this month. So income sources, we had our W-2 income, which is just our regular income from our salaries. My husband and I both work full-time. Then we also had side hustle income. If you're new here, I post Debt-Free Fridays every single Friday where I talk about our side hustle income every single week. So if you have watched those, you will be familiar with the amount that we had this month, as well as we had the stimulus check. So budget for our W-2 income was $6,200, and that was what we actually did get. We did not budget for side hustle or the stimulus check. Even though I had a good feeling a stimulus check was coming, I never budget for any unexpected income. So side hustle, we did have $307 this month in side hustle income, which was great. That's the highest month we have had in 2021 so far. And our stimulus check, we are a family of four, so our stimulus check was $5,600. So that brings our total income for the month of March to $12,107. So then after we take in all of our income from the month, I go through all of our different categories. So first is our mortgage, and most of these initial ones don't change very much. They're just our fixed expenses. So $1,254 is our mortgage, no difference, and that is 10.4% of our income. So if you're new here, I do have this column of percentage of income because I think it's good to reflect on how much you're spending in what areas so that you can evaluate if that is in line with your financial goals. So cell phones, $140, that stays the same for both of us for our cell phones, and that is at 1.2% of our income. Obviously, these percentages are a little bit skewed because we did have that additional income from the stimulus check, so these are definitely lower than they typically are for percentages. Netflix was $14. And again, if you do watch my Debt-Free Friday videos, you will probably have a little bit of spoilers on what we spent our money on this month. We did have a really big purchase that I will talk about in just a minute, as well as we did still send a lot of money to debt. So we do have a Peloton bike that we pay $41 a month for the membership for. That was 0.3% of our income. Our internet is stable at $60 a month. We only have internet. We do not have any sort of cable, and we only use Netflix for streaming. We also do have Amazon Prime, which actually just came out as well. We do use that for like movies and that kind of thing. So I know I talked about in my March budget possibly getting rid of this next year. We're kind of going to take this year and decide if this is something that we want to keep or not. We do have a lot of like movies that we've purchased through Amazon on there, so that is something we are considering. We do enjoy purchasing movies on Amazon, so just something to consider. Electric, I budgeted $225 and our bill was actually only $192, which is weird because it's the same as it was last month. Typically our bills are pretty variable, so to have it be the same as last month is kind of strange for me, but I will take it because it's definitely lower than I had anticipated with it being the bill for February. February is usually a very cold month here in Wisconsin, so that was definitely on the low end, and I'm very happy about that, especially because we've been home and we've definitely been using a lot of electricity this past couple months. So we do always do $100 for spending every single month. For personal spending, we don't track that money. That's just money that my husband and I get and are able to use it however we see fit, which is really helpful, especially for my husband, because I'm the one that primarily does most of the day-to-day budgeting, and he is not as involved. And so for him to just have money that he can spend on whatever he wants is really helpful. Gas, we did spend $88, which is a little bit higher. So this is a category that might be seeing an increase in the next couple months. If you have not watched my latest or my past Debt Free Friday video where I talked about purchasing a car, I will link it above. We did just purchase a SUV in cash. And so I'm not sure how that will change our gas. It is a CRV, and we did have a Honda Civic previously. So I do think it'll be a little bit more pricey for gas depending on what we're doing for that month. So we may end up increasing that maybe to like $125. We'll have to kind of just work that out with as the months pass. This will be, April will be our first full month with that vehicle. So I'll be able to kind of get a better idea. But for now, we're going to leave it at 100 going forward until we need to change it. Groceries, we did budget $500 and we spent $456, sorry. So we did go on a staycation this month, which helped with some of this budget because a lot of the like dining out and stuff we took from our vacation budget. So definitely helped our budget a little bit this month be able to stay on track because we did spend some money for about a week. We did actually spend some of this grocery money too when we were there, but we did do some extra eating out for our staycation. So that just helped us stay on track. And then we have our MISC budget. We budgeted $200. We actually did go over in this category by $6. We had to buy some fridge filters for our refrigerator, and it was like $100 of this because we had to buy 3 at a time. That was like the cheapest way to get it. So it's not normal for us to go over this budget too often. So that is that. We just did not plan for those fridge filters. And that is something that I could have taken out of our home sinking fund. But usually for smaller expenses like that, I will just try to cash flow it because that just kind of makes more sense in my head to just try and cash flow things rather than try to take out like small amounts out of our sinking funds. We do have our savings account at a different bank. And so it is a little bit more challenging to dip into those funds, which is a good thing because it prevents us from dipping into them when we should not. But it is a little bit more challenging to do these smaller amounts. So typically we just try to cash flow that. We did go under our eating out budget. Like I said, this was for basically 3 weeks out of the month because we did do additional eating out that we considered out of our vacation sinking fund. So that is how we did that this month, but we were under a little bit in this category as well. And then we're going to get to our sinking funds. So I'm going to do car, home. This is what we funded this month. Car, home, vacation, and Christmas. So these are all savings. I'm actually going to highlight, I think. So budget for car initially was $250. For home was $75. For vacation was $75. And for Christmas is $50. So because of this stimulus, these kind of got adjusted. So the highlighted are our sinking funds. So for car actual, we actually sent $6,250 to our car savings fund because we actually did purchase our car. So we did have some additional money that we sent from our stimulus check, as well as I did take a little bit from what we had originally planned to pay towards debt and did pay towards this. So that was $6,000 more than we had initially planned, and that was 51.6% of our income. And then for the other sinking funds, we did do what we had planned. So no difference for these. And that was at 0.6%, 0.6%, and 0.4%. And then the final is debt. So we did actually send $2,800 this month to debt, which is a little bit less than we have been sending, but that is because we did end up having to put a little bit more towards our car purchase. The car that we ended up purchasing is a 2018 Honda CR-V. It was a little bit higher on our price range than we had initially planned on spending for a vehicle. However, it was a lot newer than we had initially looked at. It's a 2018 and it only has about 10,000 miles on it. So we definitely got a great deal on that car and I'm super happy about our decision, but we did end up having to move things around a little bit this month and put more towards our car savings so that we could make sure that we paid in cash. So that being said, so the last thing that I like to look at on this section is percentage of income that we have paid towards debt and savings, because those are really what our goals are for this year, is to pay off debt and also was to save for our car and just do some general savings for our sinking funds. So that is a really good number to look at. So between our debt and all of our sinking funds this month, we sent 76.4% to debt and savings this month, which means that we lived on only about 24% what income we had brought in for this month. So I think that is a really good number. I do typically try to get about 50% of our income to go to debt. Obviously that did not happen this month because of our other goals. However, we did send over 75% to debt and savings. I think that is incredible, and I'm super happy with the way that this month went. So this little section down here just is a little bit of a recap so that we can see how our spending was for the month. So $12,107 was our income. We did spend $12,097, which meant we had a positive difference of $10. So if you've been here for a little while and you've watched any of my other recaps, we typically will just leave that as our buffer. We do keep a buffer in our checking account. We try to not let it go under $500, just for protection of our money. If we had something to come out that was unexpected or anything, we like to have that buffer. So we typically have it around 500. It had gotten a little bit bigger. We did actually end up pulling a little bit of that money to cover part of our car. So I'm just letting that build back up now. With this $10 will just be a start of building that back up to, around $500. So that is all I have for this month, you guys. It was a great month. I'm super happy with our progress. Let me know how March went for you guys and what you guys did with your stimulus check. If you received one, I would love to hear how you guys used it, and let me know in those comments below. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Thank you. Bye.